Did you just buy your first home? Well, first of all, I'm so proud of you, but hey, stick around. I'm going to cover the first 5 tools you need to have as a new homeowner coming up. Welcome back to Weekend Warrior Workshop DIY, where we get things done. Now, on your journey, you bought your first home. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. It's a great first step. It's a great investment for you, for your future, and it's an investment you want to take care of. So these are the first 5 tools you should buy as a new homeowner. Now stick around at the end of this video, where I'm going to go over this basic tool here that anyone can make. And it's going to save you a lot of headaches, because I know you're going to use this. All right, for the first tool up, it's a hammer. This is something that every homeowner needs to have in their toolbox. This comes in handy whether you're hanging pictures, if you're putting in some new baseboards, some trim work, something got loose and you need to hammer it back into place. This is an all-around great tool that you will use for decades. So if you can afford it, that goes for all the tools I'm going to talk about. If it's in your budget where you don't have to go into debt, because I don't want you going into debt for these tools, buy the best you can right from the get-go. So if that's in your budget, buy the best you can. You're not going to regret it. Amongst tradesmen and workshop people, there's a rule that we go by: buy once, cry once. And that's to buy a nice, good quality tool that's going to last you for decades and even sometimes generations. This was my grandfather's hammer that got passed down to me when I was a teenager. I still have it to this day. I'll grab it out of the toolbox. But of course, I have dozens of hammers now for a different variety of purposes. But you got to have that basic hammer to start with in your toolbox. So number 1 tool on the list is a hammer. All right, next up on the list is a 6-in-1 screwdriver. Some people wonder why they call it a 6-in-1, because they only see 4, and I'll cover that here for you. So what this is a multi-use screwdriver. If you can have a space to buy a bunch of screwdrivers in like a packet, that's great. But if you can just buy one, you have a small toolbox or just a small drawer in your house to keep all these tools in, this is perfect. It's going to take care of your basic needs. Whether you're replacing a light switch socket in your house, electrical plug cover, some of those basic things, a screw got loose, you need to tighten it up. You want to install a new light or a fan, it's a great tool to have in your toolbox. So what this is it has a shaft that comes out, and on each end there's a large end on this side and a small end on this side, and each end has a Phillips, which is a cross point, and then a standard flathead. And then the other side is the large side, is same thing, it's just a larger version of it. So this is the 4 screwdrivers there, and then when you take this out, you have a hex bolt here. So if you have smaller nuts, there's a larger one on this side and a smaller on this side. That gives you the 6-in-1 screwdriver. That is a great tool to have in your tool belt, in your toolbox as a new homeowner. Definitely something you need, and it's going to go to good use for you for years to come. All right, next up is a wrench. Now this is a specific type of wrench that I highly recommend. These are called channel locks. And you've probably seen the regular wrench that has an adjustable smaller and larger. I'll put a picture here for you. I don't recommend this. It's a tool that's always driven me a little bit nuts in the workshop, just in the ability to use. I don't like it as much, and the reason why, especially if you're using the bigger setting, is just the comfort in your hand. These channel locks, they fit nice in your hand no matter if you're on the small jaw opening or the large jaw opening. it just gives you a nice fit in the hand. It's not too strenuous for you. So especially if you're a female or someone that has smaller hands, this is something that's definitely going to be more comfortable for you, no matter the size of what you need to adjust to. So I highly recommend it just for the comfortness of it. Secondly, is this is going to allow you to do everything that wrench I just showed you, but a more comfort in your hand, and then some. And so this has several different grooves that the locks, so the different channels, that's why I call it channel locks, for these channels to slide in all the way up to a very large jaw opening. Now the benefit of this large jaw opening that I want you to have in your toolbox is for a lot of the plumbing things. So there's a P-trap under your sink that you might need to get a clog out sometimes. Maybe a wedding ring falls down there. It's going to get caught in the P-trap. You need to take that out. This is going to come in handy. Definitely a tool you want in your toolbox. It has the large jaws to be able to grab around that 1.5-inch pipe under your sink. So definitely a tool in your toolbox, and it also has the dexterity to do those little fine-tune wrench items. So this is an all-around great tool that everyone needs to have in their toolbox. It's going to come in handy for years to come. All right, next up on the list, it is a tape measure. This is something that everyone needs, whether you're measuring for curtains, measuring to put new mini blinds in a window, if you're going to measure a room for installing new carpet, new flooring, whatever you're going to do, you're going to need to measure that so that you go to buy the appropriate amount of materials. So this is something that's going to come in handy in every project that you do. So again, buy once, cry once. If you're able to buy a nicer tape measure, I prefer the Stanley Fat Max. I have some DeWalt's here, and there's just several tape measures that are worth the extra money to purchase. So if you can only afford an inexpensive one, that's okay. It's better than nothing. But I personally like the feel of a nice tape measure. It's not frustrating getting jammed up, getting it back in. It's a nice investment for your future to have a nice tape measure. But again, I'd rather you have one that's inexpensive than not have one at all. So make sure you pick up a tape measure to have with you in your toolbox. All right, now something to keep in mind, just if you've never used a tape measure before, it has an automatic retracted spring in there that will wind it back on itself. And so this is a very thin piece of metal, so you need to be careful of your hand or your finger gliding along this metal as it comes back in, because it just acts like a knife. It can easily cut your finger, and it'll be very similar to having a paper cut. It's not very pleasant. But it does have these lock features on top, so if you want to pull it out to a certain length, you can lock that down and use it, but be careful. As soon as you flip that, it's going to come winding back, and I don't want you to get accidentally cut. So still a great tool to have. You should have this in your toolbox, and I look forward to seeing these projects that you're going to be able to accomplish with this simple tool. All right, last up in the box, some people might not think it's a tool, but to me this is a necessity that every person needs in their toolbox, and that's a pair of safety glasses. So you could pick up inexpensive at any big box store. These go on, they should be on at every project. You only get one set of eyes, and it takes one incident to happen for something to get in your eyes, and it's going to end up being a bad day. And I don't want that for you. I want you to have the confidence to take on any project, but I want you to do it safely. So these are something you need in your toolbox because you got to protect your eyes. All right, so I covered these 5 tools. To me, these are a necessity that every homeowner has to have. So whether or not you can afford just the basics of the least expensive, or you have the money and ability to purchase a little bit nicer quality, that's what I would love for you to have, is a nice quality tool that's going to last you for decades. These are items that are going to carry on through all your home ownerships. It's going to carry you through a lot of projects, And on this channel, you're going to build the confidence to be able to take care of them, because you can do it, and I'm here to help. I'm so glad you waited to see this tip. You're going to really enjoy it. This is a picture frame. This works with any picture frame. And if you've ever hung picture frames before, you can know how frustrating it can be to make sure it's lined up. If you're going off of measurements of walls, especially if you have an old house, I happen to have a 1940s home, and nothing's quite level. There's some settlement that takes place over time. So you have to kind of look at it by your eye instead of by measurement sometimes. So this is a great strategy to use when you're hanging pictures in your house. Now it's better if you have two people because they can take a step back. The further back you get, the better perspective you have. So with this, it's a simple tool. This is just a simple paint stick you can pick up at any of your local big box store. If you walk by the paint area and you just say, hey, can I have a paint stir stick? They'll probably give it to you for free. And so if you pick up one of those, and then I just screwed in a 1-inch drywall screw and just had a little tip poking out. And what you do with it is you hook it on the picture frame where you're going to hang it up. And then you hold it up, find the spot on the wall where you're going to hang that picture up. And especially if you're trying to line up several of them in a line to make sure all the tops are lined up, someone can stand back, let you know. Once you have that spot, just take your hand and gently push into the wall, and the tip of that screw is going to make a mark into the wall. And then at that point, you can put your screw or your anchor, whatever you are hanging your picture with, a little finishing nail, whatever you're using, even if it's command strips. This is still a great strategy to use. So it's a great strategy to use for hanging picture frames. And it's very inexpensive. It's cost of a screw. Some people might have that laying around, and then you can get a paint stick at your local big box stores. They usually give them to you for free. So I'm glad you stuck around to watch this helpful hint. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you can hang your picture frames in the future with a lot less frustration. So I'm here to help, I'm here to inspire, and I'm here to encourage. I know you can do it. There's projects that I know that you're going to take on, and you're going to have success. There's going to be some failures along the way, but you're going to learn from it, and you're going to become better and better each time. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. If you have someone that just bought a new home, share this video with them. These are the 5 tools they need to have in their tool belt, and then we'll do other videos where we'll go to the next step for more of that intermediate level. So thank you for joining along with me today. I hope you have a great day.